That's always been my thought process on I'm just going to try and get the minimal amount of charging time. Like 15 minutes at a charger, I'm annoyed. I'm like, I want to get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
So we stopped 30 times in the Cybertruck.
30?
30 times because we could only charge to 30%.
Oh, man.
Because we wanted to win.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Off the Record. We love them. You love them. They're the best. They help you fight tickets. Off the Record will set you up with a qualified attorney wherever you got a ticket in the U.S. and help you get those points off your record, right? You don't plead guilty. Pleading guilty is for suckers. You know why? Because it's a whole system that's designed to screw you. It's the cops, it's the courts, it's the insurance companies. They are picking your pocket, folks, all because you were trying to get somewhere on time. You know what I'm saying? offtherecord.com/TST or download the Off the Record app for your Android or Apple device and use code TSTPOD, TSTPOD, 10% off all legal services booked through Off the Record. Did you get a small ticket? Did you get a big ticket? Did you get a misdemeanor ticket? Off the Record can help. Go to offtherecord.com/TST or use code TSTPOD on the Off the Record app for 10% of all legal services booked through Off the Record. Get that app now. Have it ready in your phone. That way, if you get pulled over, you won't be panicking. You will know who to call. All right, on today's episode, very excited to have our special guest in studio, Kyle Connor from Out of Spec Motoring. I would plug his YouTube channels, but he has 17 of them, and we would be here all day. It would be half the show if I was plugging all of Kyle Connor's YouTube channels. But he is a great dude, really, really knowledgeable about the EV space. He actually brought us his new Cybertruck to check out. We talk about that a little bit. We talk about DC fast charging, and of course, our main topic of the show, our 5 favorite EVs of all time. Actually, turns out to be a more interesting chat than I expected. But we're happy to have him. Always nice to see him. Kyle Connor from Out of Spec Motoring is here on the Smoking Tire Podcast. A Ferrari 212 today is like $5 million.
So why were they undesirable back then?
They were just used cars. I mean, cars didn't become massively collectible investments until like the 80s. It really wasn't, and they were just old cars. And they had an audience, but like they weren't considered these sort of, pieces of art.
Were there car collectors back in the 70s and 60s?
Like some, but they were collecting like pre-war shit. Like okay. Pebble Beach Concours was going on.
Yeah.
But like they were showing the same exact cars at Pebble Beach Concours
every year
from the 50s until, the 90s.
Sure.
Yeah. Imagine how hard it would be to get, obscure Ferrari parts in 62. Like no internet, no real phone net. Like phones existed.
You could probably like literally call Maranello. Hello. Like you could just call them and somebody would pick it up.
Maybe,
but
what if they speak Italian and you speak English because you're in Ohio? And
That's a good point. Enzo would be like, English? What are you English for? Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for hitting us up yesterday and saying, I like when our friends that are good guests actually tell me when they're coming to town.
Sure.
It helps. It very much helps. Rolling up in a Cybertruck, letting me and Zach have a quick little go. Not enough for a review, but a quick little go. So thank you for letting us have a quick go.
You can have as much time as you need as soon as it's back.
Yeah. You said in a couple of weeks we can do a video with it, which I will take you up on. We'll appreciate it. I'll bring the fucking Brillo pads, and it'll be. I'll bring Brillo pads and full body armor.
Yes.
Band-Aids.
We'll be ready to go.
Yeah, Band-Aids, super glue.
But I saw you were doing this cross country quote race.
Sure.
Right. I mean, well, I think the idea of the race was was basically range and charge networks, right?
Absolutely.
So, but it wasn't about speeding, right?
No, so we do these things. We call them race to Vegases, where we take different electric cars, and we cap a speed of 10 over the speed limit, and then it only becomes about the charging performance of the vehicle and how it uses the energy it onboards. So,
and what about
efficiency and
route planning, or do you go to the same charging stations?
So far on all of these, we've all done the same routes, but the charging stations change because some cars can skip one, some other ones stop at every one.
Well, and you're going from Colorado to Vegas?
So normally we go from Fort Collins to Las Vegas.
So there's really only it's like one real way to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. But this time you came all the way to LA.
Yeah, we decided, well, everyone loves those videos. They do really well for us.
Do they?
Yeah, millions of views on them, which is great.
Wow.
And so people love that sort of competition.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, let's just do it across the country. So we did Jacksonville to San Diego, which is the shortest ocean-to-ocean route.
Okay. Yeah.
And we did it in the spirit
Jacksonville,
of...
one of my favorite cities.
Sure. We did it in the spirit of, like, there is a coast-to-coast record, and it's on that route. Obviously, we are filming things, so we're not getting insane. Yeah.
What is the coast to coast?
Couldn't tell you. But that is the shortest distance.
Yeah,
ocean. I don't know. It's hundreds of miles shorter than the official, like, New York
than
to
the
LA.
Cannonball route.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. How far is it from Jacksonville to San Diego?
It was like 2,400 miles versus 28.
It's 28 something
Yeah.
is Red Ball Garage to Portofino Inn. Yeah. Okay, cool.
And we've done that route a few times at top speed, and that's been fun in electric cars.
Right.
But when we have people involved, when we're filming everything, we really just want to keep it safe, keep it within the limits, and let the trucks showcase what they're capable of doing.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't just have a race,
No.
like an actual race. Like
Of
that's
course
not that's not cool.
But we title
actually.
it race because people love the word race.
Of course
and it does
they
well
do.
for SEO.
Yeah. But this isn't NOM. There are rules.
Sure.
I mean, technically, like you are racing. It's smart. It's kind of a fixed speed, basically, and then you're testing the infrastructure and the car's ability to manage the energy. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you're pretty much using adaptive cruise like the whole way. Basically,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, unless you're like in traffic, there's always some advantage. Like, do you knife through traffic?
Right.
Like,
Right.
make a pass, but then not accelerate.
So
it's a very awkward feeling of
when you
driving.
leave stoplights next to each other, does one of you jump to 10 over the speed limit and one cruises up to it?
Well, yeah, and that's part of the competitive advantage. So there is like some stuff, but hopefully, the trucks are so different that those types of things don't play in to the overall result. However, this time we ran it, it was so unbelievably close. I won't reveal the exact order that the trucks came in, but the first and second place were within 5 minutes of each other across the entire country.
Well, that's actually great for the non-Teslas, isn't it? Because in the past, the supercharger network and its exclusively would have benefited just Teslas in a pretty substantial way.
Absolutely.
And now you've got Ford is able to use the supercharger network, so that's good. But even though, what is that, a Rivian and is that a Silverado EV?
Yep.
I've never even fucking seen one of those.
Hertz.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got it from Hertz?
Yeah, and then GM was like, holy crap, can we send you one? And I'm like, well, we got it right now.
We
sorry.
already got it from Hertz.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never seen a Silverado EV. But
We have one here. Maybe today you'll see it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I would like to see it if it's here. And so Rivian and Chevy are using other charge networks, right?
Yeah, so for this race, not every supercharger is open to Ford, at least at the time of this recording, but Rivian is like days away from opening up to having access, and GM is also in that same boat.
From having access to superchargers.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's only certain version 3 superchargers that they can use, so the higher power ones. And so the Ford couldn't use exclusively superchargers across the country. There's also some issues with charge port location and cable length, and we can talk about that. But it's they used probably 80% Tesla superchargers, 20% public stations. And then the Rivian and the Silverado used exclusively public, mostly Electrify America, but some EVgo, some other ones. And then the Cybertruck only used superchargers.
Okay. And overall, have you seen an improvement in the reliability of public charging?
I think we're just at the start of that. It has been crap for years, as you very well know, and as we have been complaining about forever. And we've always been like, electric cars are cool, they're great, but they will not work until you can travel. You're buying a $50-something thousand car. It's got to do everything.
Sure.
Even if your commute most of the time is just 12 miles to wherever, you're buying a car, it has to go places.
Yeah.
So the infrastructure needs to work. And to be honest, unless it was a Tesla, it didn't work. And no one would subject themselves to, voluntarily sitting at those.
It didn't work enough of the time that it made you second guess every time. 3 weeks ago, I had to go to Vegas for the McLaren 750 launch, which was a great time, and we've got a video coming up on that very soon. But I had a choice because on my Ford Mach-E, the lease is up in a couple of weeks, and I've got about 4,000 extra miles on that lease. So every mile is free right now, and I could charge relatively cheaply. Certainly charge my house cheaply, but I could charge in Vegas cheaply as well. Or I could drive the G-Wagon press car, which got 12 miles to the gallon. And so because my time was worth more than my money in that particular instance, I drove possibly the least efficient vehicle in production today and spent $200 on gas to go make this fucking video rather than my EV, because I couldn't risk the fucking time not working for me.
You're totally right. So we've all been there. At least all EV drivers know that feeling that don't drive a Tesla. Ford gaining access to the Tesla network is amazing. For you, that would mean peace of mind. You roll up to Baker or whatever is in the middle. They have like 100 stalls now. Yeah. And you just like find one, plug it in, walk away. You don't have to think about it. So that's nice.
It's just it's a bummer that in Baker, the Tesla station is so far from Best Gyro USA. It's a walk.
Okay.
That's
Best
a long
Gyro, that's the place to try out?
the Mad Greek.
I don't know anything about this.
It's the gyro spot in Baker.
No way.
It's the sign outside that says Best Gyro USA. It is not, but it's definitely the best gyro in Baker.
But they got good confidence.
But if you say gyro and not gyro, they fucking scream at you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how you know it's legit.
Okay, great. If you're getting screamed at ordering one.
We ate there on Monday. I'm in Baker way too much.
Yeah, so the networks make all the difference, but at least in this race, which was interesting, is everyone had bugs. We had a lot of bugs on the supercharger network with the Cybertruck.
Really?
Tons, because it's obviously a new vehicle with the biggest battery.
Did you cut one of the charging cables on the door? Is that what happened? And caused a short?
The doors are sharp. No, but it just pulls. So every electric vehicle has a different way to optimize it on a road trip. Some of them charge flat charging curves up to 80%, like the Lightning. There's never a reason to unplug the Lightning before 80% on a road trip. It just holds 120 kilowatts, which is its maximum nominal power all the way. And then you have vehicles on the complete other end of the scale, like our Cybertruck, that only hold full power, at least on version 3 chargers, to 29%. And then it starts and the Rivian can only hold full power to about 44%. And then it starts to go down. So everyone says, unplug your EV at 80% because that's when they slow down. But the 90% of EVs on the market slow down way before. Yeah. So then the strategy comes into the race, which is, do you only charge when you're getting maximum power and then rip to the next station, or do you charge deep and then skip? And
I don't trust stations enough that I'm going to 100%, because if I then show up at a station with 20%, I need to know I can get to the next one when it fucks up.
It just takes so much time. So I'm always rolling in most EVs at like 0 to 5% every time.
You're ballsy, man.
But
have you ever been totally stranded by doing that?
Maybe once in like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. I got so lucky.
I would expect that you'd be
knock on wood.
You'd be a higher failure rate than that.
No, because you can check the apps. They'll show you like what's working, what's not. Sometimes there's some interop issues, but there's Yeah, of course.
I've been lied to.
Me too. Yeah. I've been there, but it's it's like for most of my driving through the middle of the country, if you show up at a station, let's say you charge to 100%, the next one you'll get there at 40%. Well, at 40%, you can't make it to another station. So what's the difference between 0 and 40?
That's okay. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
So that's always been my thought process on I'm just going to try and get the minimal amount of charging time. Like 15 minutes at a charger, I'm annoyed. I'm like, I want to get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
So we stopped 30 times in the Cybertruck.
30?
30 times, because we could only charge to 30%.
Oh, man.
Because we wanted to win. We're like, we're only charging if this thing's full power.
If you were driving that vehicle cross country, not in a race.
Yeah, have that.
It's still a bunch.
Yeah.
It's still a bunch.
The Silverado had the biggest battery, and the fastest charging.
Is it 200 kilowatt?
We had the one just below. It was 180 kilowatt hour usable.
God, that's such a big fucking battery.
At the office today, they just dropped off the big battery one.
Yeah.
So we have both now, which is great. This one was from Hertz. By the way, Hertz has like a bunch of Silverado EVs.
I bet nobody wants those.
I don't even think they advertise them. When we rolled up, my friend works for Hertz. I'm like, give me any location in Florida that has this truck, because we put this race together last minute.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, go to the Orlando airport. I'm like, who is flying into Orlando and wants this mega electric truck? But that only had to do 9 or 10 stops across the country, because it held pretty flat to 80%, and it had 350 miles of range after that.
Okay. 350 miles of real world range at 75 miles an hour, basically. Guys, got to take a quick break from the action for Auto Tempest, who is supporting our show today. When you're looking for a car, you want to cast that wide net and check as many places as possible. Nobody does that like Auto Tempest. It brings together listings from all the top sites online, like Cars.com, TrueCar, eBay Motors, Carvana, and many, many more, so you can get them all in one place rather than having to open up a dozen tabs and searching a bunch of sites separately. Seriously, when we are shopping for cars to do our project car giveaways, Auto Tempest is the only place we would look. For me, I'm busy, my time is valuable, time is money, and I don't want to input the same search terms into a whole dozen different places. It's so easy to go to Auto Tempest and just bring all that into one place. It even lets you compare with results from Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist nationwide, not just in your local area. Auto Tempest even has an app, right, for iOS and Android, so you can use the website or have Auto Tempest right on your mobile device on your home screen. Auto Tempest has all the cars with one search. Head over to autotempest.com/tire now so they know we sent you. Same great service, autotempest.com/tire, and start searching for your next car. Now back to the show.
10 more, about 80 to 85. For
Oh,
most
really?
Of it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a pretty big range.
The big battery would do that at 80%. This one's probably about 300 at 80%, at 85.
My Ford is massively more efficient at 75 than it is at 85. Big difference.
Well, the air resistance increases, on a logarithmic curve. So every mile an hour isn't just a bit more. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot more. Whereas, for long distance driving, like Lucids are fucking where it's
amazing.
At, dude. Lucids are 300 miles at 100 miles an hour. Yeah. And I love that.
Well, we had one, and we did 400. I did one stretch in one of these races. We did Model S, Taycan, and Lucid, a race to Vegas. And the first charging stop in the Lucid was 440 miles from our office. And I still had 12%.
That's awesome.
I was like, damn, this
they
is
are
great.
the aerodynamics champions, those guys.
And then the station I got to had a line. I was like, shit, I should have pulled in earlier and skipped that one.
Yeah. Well, that can happen. Okay. Yeah. So you said the gap between the first and second vehicle in this one was 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What was between first and last?
5 hours.
Oh, so that's noticeable.
Yeah.
I mean, even in a cross-country drive, that's, it adds up, so it's not...
First, second, and third were within an hour of each other.
Okay.
Yep. And then last place.
And one is substantially worse than the rest.
Whatever. We'll just say it doesn't really matter so much. People will watch our video, I hope. So the Silverado won. Which was, I think, it's the first good GM Ultium story of our generation. But I knew it could do it, so I was really excited to let's show what this thing's capable of. And if we had the big battery, it would have just won
by a lot more.
So that was awesome. And it's the work truck spec. It didn't have a tonneau cover. It didn't wasn't optimized. It was cool. The Cybertruck came second by 5 minutes, but only because we ripped the absolute shit out of it across the country. I mean, we were skidding into superchargers. We had to work 5 times as hard as the Silverado team. Yeah, because we had to stop 3 times as much.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think if you employed a charge to 80% strategy, it would have been way slower?
Hours.
Yeah.
Hours. And, you have to risk, okay, what if the station's far off the highway? That's the time that you're losing. But Tesla puts the stations in the perfect places. They're like, oop, right off the highway, charge back on.
Yeah.
And especially during the middle of the night, we never had traffic off the highway. The farthest away a station was for us, a supercharger off the highway, was 1.1 miles.
That's pretty good.
So everything else was right there.
Yeah.
And we would skip the ones that were really far off.
Okay.
So that was good. Then the Rivian was third by quite a bit. But I think they were 35 minutes, 45 minutes after us, something like that. But it was a real battle towards the end. We all had glimpses and we're like trying to figure out each other's strategies. And then the Lightning was, last place by quite a bit, and it just doesn't have the peak charge rate. It's got the curve. You charge it to 80 and then you can go. But it just, all the other trucks
Peak
are charging.
charge rate of 125 is pretty low.
Yeah, that's on the standard battery. This one was the big battery, so it would do like 170 peak. But yeah, I mean, we were never charging below 200 kilowatts.
Sure.
So that adds up over 2,400 miles.
I remember when we got the Lightning in Pikes Peak, and inexplicably they gave it to us with 25%
You had the
battery.
red
in it.
one, yeah.
The red one.
Yep.
And we both loved the truck. I mean, actually, I think it's a great truck for like a ton of reasons.
Yep, I love it.
But we took it straight to a, I don't know if it was a 150 or a 350 fast charger, and we were like, what's wrong? It's charging at 125. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
and
that's its nominal
that's just
charge.
what it does.
Yeah,
and
it gives you a 10-minute boost of 450 amps, which depends on pack voltage. Nerd stuff, but it depends on pack voltage. So you're anywhere between 150 and 175 for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just arbitrary. Just because things get hot. It's just not a way to do a charging curve. And then it just sits at 120 all the way to 80. And so there's no incentive to unplug before 80 in that truck.
Right.
Because you want to get to the next charger at the highest state of charge possible.
Right.
Which then gives you the biggest charge rate. So anyway, it's really fun. I don't think this was really useful consumer testing because no one's going to drive a Cybertruck to 29% and go to the next.
Yeah.
So on the way back to Colorado, which we're leaving after this,
You're going to do it regular?
only to 80%. That's what most people are told. That's what like marketing is. Unplug at 80. So we're going to take the Rivian's gone, but we'll do the Silverado, the Lightning, and the Cybertruck. Every stop, charge to 80, off to the next.
Okay.
I mean,
the farthest one you can.
even though like the Lightning was last by several hours, the fact that it was across the entire country and the delta was a few, like 5 hours, and then in the third place was 35 minutes, that's incredibly tight to me. It's almost like zero.
Dude, there's deltas of hours in gasoline-powered cannonballs.
Right.
When they run a cannonball, there's a gap of 2 to 4 hours between first and middle.
But I think it is good consumer advice because what you're demonstrating is that you don't have to have a Tesla. You don't have to always use the supercharging network now because of the infrastructure that's slowly getting better, but also the ability of the vehicles.
Well, the Lightning team had the easiest time out of anyone. They could use superchargers pretty much. They would charge to 80. They never had to think, if I leave right now and drive 84, I can make it at 0 and math. They're just like, we charge to 80. We go to the farthest away one we can make it to after that. They had Blue Cruise, which rocks. Blue Cruise is awesome.
Blue Cruise is very good, as is Super Cruise.
Super Cruise rocks, absolutely.
Yeah.
Silverado didn't have it. It was base one, just adaptive cruise. But Cybertruck had no autopilot, so we had to steer the damn thing across the country. They do not ship them with autopilot at the moment.
It's not standard?
It says on the window sticker full self-driving, but I maybe feel
Locking
I
gifts
have to
available
self-drive.
Yeah.
So that will come in a software update, as will locking diffs. And I hate to be so negative on it because I do love a lot about my Cybertruck, but shit, there's so many things that it should be in the truck on day one.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That they just sell the thing with shit it doesn't have.
I
That's
have been
crazy.
so looking forward to your reaction when I would bring ours by, and it was amazing. You walk out there with Zach, you're like, what the heck is all this stuff? It was so great. So
right.
what did you think about it?
Okay, so I drove it for 5 minutes. So I want to drive it more. You're going to let me drive it more, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
We don't have to go spend $1,000 renting
Don't
one.
do
which
that.
I don't
We
wanna
have
do.
one.
The first reaction was I took a lap around the truck. The panel fitment is so atrocious. I mean, truly atrocious. And on the nose, particularly where that front quarter panel meets the hood and the bumper, that is a razor blade. Ralph Nader would be so upset at that. He wrote a whole fucking book and fought for years to make shit like that super illegal.
Well, because that quarter panel protrudes beyond the hood. So it's not that they all meet there. So it's like this very small vertical fin that is beyond the hood. So if it hit anything, that is going to be the point of contact, and there's going to be a lot more force behind it. That was just weird to see that kind of
Yeah, and our hood's
misfitment.
like not aligned, which you would think like they know we're YouTubers, we're filming the truck and stuff. They would dial in the truck. They do not give a shit.
It's dude, I literally have tools in my kitchen that look like that, whose whole purpose is to remove skin from things.
Well, it happened to a dude yesterday. I was
crazy.
at the EVgo testing laboratory. Because we didn't know if this Cybertruck would CCS charge or not. No one's really tried it. We had to pull the side of the truck off to get the adapter to fit.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it doesn't physically interface, and there's good reasons as to why. The current adapter is only 500 volts. The truck's an 800 volt system, so you want a specific one that doesn't arc and kill you.
Yeah.
So that was smart, but we did try it anyway, and it charges fine on most chargers. But a dude, like one of the engineers there, like I guess moved around and cut his arm.
Actually cut his arm.
Yeah, there was blood.
So yeah, and the doors don't sit flush, and it's the fit and finish of it is so hideous. I can't believe they let it out the door like that. Okay, fine. Driving it was pretty much what I expected based on what people I trust have said. It's fast. It's the tri-motor, so it accelerates fast. The steer-by-wire felt pretty natural in regular maneuvering, but when I went to make a U-turn, that caught me off guard and was very, very weird. I imagine one could get used to it. The rearview mirror is a fucking joke. That's crazy.
Yeah, they need a digital rear view, like a Chevy. We were saying a Chevy Bolt has a digital rear view mirror. But how does a $121,000 Cybertruck, which they charge you, for stuff you don't get because they make you spit the foundation thing, which I didn't want anything in the foundation, but it's like if you get
what
one
comes
now.
in the foundation thing?
So it comes with a light bar. Which it doesn't have.
Which it doesn't have.
I don't know. I love it. Okay, so that was really funny. It comes with full self-driving, which it doesn't have. Doesn't even
locking
have
diffs, which it doesn't have.
Well, that's standard on all of them.
Wheel
apparently.
covers, which you had to take off because they were cutting the sidewalls.
Yeah, well, I had to buy them from someone else to put it on this truck because they don't deliver with them anymore.
What?
Yeah, they had
a stop sale on the wheel covers.
Why?
Because they were cutting the sidewalls.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's
so at least
why.
Tesla knew about it. But like someone said to me, like you would think they would find that in their months of testing, and I'm like, months of testing? Vehicles should have years of testing. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude. I love when it's like there's those photos of the prototypes like doing testing shit. It's like, bro, Porsche was doing that shit like a year and a half before the car goes on sale. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. What else do you think about it?
The ride was more like an F-150 than like a Rivian. The ride to me felt kind of trucky.
Yeah, the Rivian rides like a expensive car. Like almost like a Lucid.
Yeah.
Which was one of the great things about it. But yeah, this definitely felt like stiff truck suspension for heavy payload in the back.
And I even had it in relaxed mode for you guys, and I totally agree. I drive a Rivian as my daily driver, and based off of
they're so nice to drive.
I love
they're
Rivian.
Fucking great, man.
Best thing I've ever had.
Yeah.
It's just so useful. It's so nice, and it's got the right image wherever you go. It looks great in the mountains of Colorado, but then I can still pull up at dinner, covered in mud, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's great. We love that truck. But yeah, so the suspension needs some tuning, but there's so much software stuff that can change a lot of that over time. So that's why I got one. I wanted to see how they improve or unimprove it.
Yeah, for you, like, I'm not fucking mad you bought this thing. Like, I totally get why you, of anyone I know, would buy one. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The camera that pops up when you signal was really weird. It pops up in the center screen, whereas like a Hyundai, a $50,000 Telluride now, like when you signal left, the screen in the left side of the gauge cluster pops up and shows you what's in the blind spot.
Oh, gauge cluster.
Right, sorry, gauge cluster. This doesn't have a gauge. Whoa.
This doesn't have a gauge cluster.
No, I know, but it's just, it's as you pointed out, Kyle, when I was driving, if you're turning left and you signal left, the camera's on the right, so your head goes the other way. So that's a really weird thing.
Yeah. To me, the whole thing feels like a solution in search of a problem. It solves a problem nobody had for a fashion statement, and it will not
most fashion, I think.
I don't think they're going to get, like, nobody who wants a truck for truck things is going to go, this is a better truck. Instead, I feel like people who want a fashion statement and might already own a Tesla sedan are going to get this as a fashion statement, and they're now in a heavier, more dangerous, less efficient vehicle than what they were already. So it actually backs the efficiency and the green argument the other way.
Yeah, daily driving this uses, probably 60% more electricity than a normal car.
Right.
I totally agree with like most of your comments on Cybertruck, all around. But also, after I took delivery of this thing and I was like, we're actually driving it, and now it's like I'm not under pressure to make videos like I was when I first tested them, and I'm just like using it as a car. I love it.
Okay.
I know, but it's so great to just steer by wire around the city is so nimble. It just like zips around. The performance in terms of acceleration is good. The brakes suck. Brakes really
The brakes
suck.
are not good. Yeah.
What do you love about it? Because like you have a Rivian,
Yeah.
and the Rivian, as you said, like rides better, doesn't have some of these features that don't exist but you had to pay for. So what is it that you like about it aside from steering?
Yeah.
Folks, got to just take one quick break from the show for Give Me the VIN. Give Me the VIN wants to buy your car, whether it's your daily driver, your pickup, or your Lamborghini. If you want that car gone, Give Me the VIN wants it. Say goodbye to dealing with dealerships and get a true buy offer for your car now at Give Me the VIN. Give Me the VIN puts your car right on the money, providing you with a hassle-free online option to sell your car for more. It's as simple as going to givemethevin.com/smokingtire and entering your car's VIN number or license plate number. You'll get an instant, real offer on your car in minutes that is always well above any dealer quote. Give Me the VIN is guaranteed to beat CarMax, or they'll send you a check for $100. You can go to one of Give Me the VIN's office locations, or they'll come to you. It's easy and it's fast. Go to givemethevin.com/smokingtire to get a real offer on your car today. Givemethevin.com/smokingtire. It's easy. They give you a great price and they save you time and therefore headaches and money. Guaranteed to beat CarMax, or they'll send you a check for $100. Givemethevin.com/smokingtire. Do it today. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, steering sound system is the best thing I've ever heard in any
Really?
car.
Okay.
Best sound system. Maybe iX with the Bowers and Wilkins is right up there. Bentley has like those name systems that
Yeah.
are there as well. This is right up there.
Okay.
Maybe better.
Who does it for them?
It's their own. Yeah,
Wow.
it's got to be 3,000 watts. I mean, it's got to be up there. Something. I mean, they have two huge woofers in there. It's
The
yeah, you
Lotus,
should
the
listen
Lotus
to it. It's
Electre
pretty incredible.
Dolby Atmos
Yes.
was insane.
Yes.
That was an experience.
That is a
so
rocket
this is, if this is better than that, that is a lot to
Yes,
say.
it is
Okay,
better
wow.
than that. Yes.
Wow.
Well, look, I want people to be happy with their car. So if you buy something and you're happy with it, even if I don't like it, that's cool.
Yeah, that's
Like,
how I feel. A lot
whatever.
of people buy shit I think is stupid. So
And
yeah.
I can understand the appeal of steer-by-wire, just like I've said over and over, just based on what you can see and touch. You look at the panel fitment of this truck, and you go, the company that fucking put that together and let it out the door with that kind of imprecision and garbage quality, we're trusting them to remove the mechanical connection of steering? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
demonstrate on this product how little they give a fuck about the details.
Yeah.
And so that to me is concerning when it comes to a potential failure point of my steering.
Totally agree.
I have a business idea for you, so we'll copyright it here. The inside of the door, like when I pressed the button to open the door, there was no indicated rubberized handle to pull on.
Right.
So I just pull on the door, but the amount to which they have ground down that sharp corner varies quite a bit from bottom to top. You should make a little plastic liner, like a snap-on thing, like people make for charger fronts, and you just
Like
press
a
it on
knife
there,
protector
take glue,
or-
sell
Yeah,
it for $20,
yeah, yeah, like
make it
skate
for $1. Yes, exactly. Skate guards for Cybertruck fingers.
I'm sure there'll be stuff like that. I mean, the Tesla accessory world just goes crazy on anything, so
Oh, yeah.
they'll do that.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know if I can put into words what I love about it so much, but I think it is certainly the most controversial car of the year, and
Well,
it
yeah.
is. It is so normal to drive it to me now, but it looks so crazy on the outside. And I don't really like the way it looks personally from the outside. I think the Rivian is far superior in
How
styling.
sick is that
and-
R3?
Dude, okay, R3X, that
I want
little
that
rally
fucking thing so bad,
Did
dude.
you go to the event to see
I
it?
didn't.
Okay,
No,
me
I
either.
didn't.
A colleague
I
went.
just saw photos, and goddamn, is that good?
So they'll make it a
Make all cars look like Lancia Deltas and Lada Nivas, please.
Absolutely.
That's so great.
It's a
I want one
tri-motor.
so bad.
Can you explain to me what the benefit of a tri-motor is over a dual motor with a mechanical diff?
No.
Yeah, me either.
I mean, I suppose if I were to take a guess, you could. I assume that the tri-motors, the two are in the back and one is in the front.
Yeah.
So you could do better active diff control. So like you could literally like actively brake one motor while overdriving another motor, which you can't do with even the smartest of diffs. You can only simulate. So like, I guess that's what the benefit would be.
Yeah, I mean, I own
Sliding it.
3 different cars that have individual motors on the rear axles. And what I find in all of them is that if I want to do something stupid, slide it, or even if I'm just like on track and want to get, really overdrive that outside wheel, that outside motor is only half of your rear axle power, and it runs out of steam.
Huh.
And then I'm like, oh, but if I had a mechanical diff, I could transfer more power over there with like a mechanical torque vectoring diff.
True. So they need to program that, right? So that the left side rear motor is then mimicking a mechanical diff more.
Right, but if you hit its maximum power output capability, then that's all it can do. And you have leftover power on the rear axle with the right motor. It's a weird thing, but it does confuse me. I'm sure there's some crazy vehicles like the Lucid Sapphire, which I have not driven yet, that have enough power to do whatever you need to do with any motor. But that's always been like a the tri-motor, quad-motor thing. I've never seen a benefit to that personally.
I think it's about perfecting traction control in
might
most
be that.
situations, except for the ones you just spoke of.
I doubt it's about sliding the car as much as it is about simulating a tighter turning. Like because basically if you have 2 motors in the rear, you could simulate a left foot braking to reduce understeer more so than to induce oversteer.
Yeah, so it'll make a big heavy car feel more agile.
Yeah, you regen the inside, of course.
Probably
and
helps
play
the
around
launch
with
control a little bit to have super precise wheel control.
Dude, if that thing had 1 motor, I'd be fine with it. I don't give a fuck.
It
Ooh, the
is
seats
so
are
good.
nice.
It just looks amazing. Somebody went to the school of Giugiaro and said, mate this with what Rivian's doing, and
They just
print
totally
that.
get it.
Yeah,
They
do.
totally get it. All of their products have been amazing. I mean, I think my R1T was one of the first ones. It's got 50,000 miles on it now. We spoke about it last time I was on the show. It's been rock solid. It still has no creaks, no rattles. It's so
a really
high
well-made
quality
thing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
For a company's first product, that's shockingly well made.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I put the quality of that between Escalade and Range Rover.
Yeah,
Which
100%.
is pretty much, And the S is great too. We've got a Macan E on order for September. I can't wait until 26 or 27 for this to come out.
So you're
but maybe
doing
on the next lap.
electric Macan as your next car then?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So that'll replace the Mach-E.
Yeah, Mach-E's up in 2 weeks. It's
Right.
got to go back.
So you gotta wait then.
Yeah, we got to wait, but that's what the Bentley's for. Dude.
Oh, dude, the Bentley
The
is
Turbo
sick.
R, it's downstairs.
I
You got
wanna
to
see
see
it.
it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanna
the
see
Turbo
it.
R is downstairs.
I've
him
been
drive that.
loving your updates on that car.
If you want to drive the Turbo R, you can.
Can I drive
yeah,
it?
It's
Oh,
awesome.
yes.
It's amazing. It's like
Okay.
driving a train. It's so cool.
What's the horn's got to be like? Meh.
2 horns.
You got the pedestrian horn on it too.
It's got the city horn and the country horn.
Yes.
My wife is obsessed with the 2 horns.
Yes.
The first day we got it, she just drove all around the neighborhood going, fucking obsessed with it. That's
Okay,
great.
I have to have a go in that. That's amazing.
Yeah, you can try it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's-
thank you.
we could go cross country. Bentley versus fucking yeah,
That'd be
it's great.
amazing.
3-speed auto, baby. So you are the only person I know, and I know it's not you, but your company that owns a DC fast charger.
Yeah, 4 of them now.
So what the fuck is that about?
We test cars and charging. Just like you are a car reviewer, you own vehicles so you can live with them.
Yeah.
And you know what a vehicle should do, and you are interested in different types of vehicles. So you have, cool Bentley and, got a Mach-E electric, so you can live with that. Just like charging. Each charger's different characteristics. I would like to own and experience those. And so...
But don't you need infrastructure to put in DC fast chargers?
Yeah, we have an office that has, business power. It was actually, our office was the old power station for Fort Collins.
Oh, how
so we have
convenient.
megawatts.
Yeah.
I
Do you
think-
literally have a megawatt?
We have like 6 megawatts.
You have 6 megawatts?
We can put whatever we want in there. I mean, demand charges are rough. So our office, we rent space from Colorado State University. It's called the Powerhouse. So we're in with, really, it's called the Colorado Energy Institute. It's amazing, really cool innovation. And they love our stuff because we're working on energy-related topics with vehicles and researching things and filming them for our audience. And that's basically what they do for their own projects. And they're like, yep, put as many chargers in as you want. I mean, we have to pay to install them and all that stuff. But the chargers all came to us at no cost from the companies. So we didn't have to pay for those.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it was great. So all I have to do is hook them up.
And they're from the manufacturers of the chargers, right?
Yes.
So you're not buying from Electrify America. You're buying from whoever builds chargers for Electrify America.
We're getting them from Autel, from XCharge, from New, from all of these companies. And the thing for them is, we're so ingrained in this EV world that the charging networks, the people who work for Electrify America, EVgo, whatever, they watch all of our stuff. So if we're talking about a charger and EV drivers are excited about that charger, let's say it performs well, they're long-term review units. So if they don't work, we're going to say they don't work. Maybe they'll sell some. So that's where it's like we view them, we treat them the same way as a long-term review car. Yeah. We get a long-term review charger. We slap it in for a 1-year contract. When it's done, we'll send it back to them.
Yeah. Well, having all that power, that's the asterisk on all of it.
Yeah, and we have varying power levels, everything from 40 kilowatts to one is about to arrive at 750 kilowatts.
Oh, wow, really?
A real big boy charger.
What can you do with that?
Right now, there's nothing that can take that much unless it's a truck. But
you can open Stargate and travel through time. Holy moly.
It's not hard to make a super powerful charger. You just put a bunch of modules in there.
Yeah.
And then,
but is that, so that can't charge anything. Well, it can charge at lower speeds, but it can't. Are they anticipating that charge speeds are going to be up to that at some point?
Probably not.
Or is that what you would be charging like semi-trucks?
Yeah, that'd be for medium and heavy-duty applications, which we want to play around with as well. I was thinking about getting a CDL the other day so I could start driving electric trucks and stuff.
Yeah. Well, our boy Ali Javedan at Range Energy, I'm sure would be happy to get you. Have you met Ali yet?
No, but I've heard of them, yeah.
He's the guy.
Okay, cool.
It's not about electrifying the cab. It's about electrifying the trailer.
Oh,
the
smart.
trailer
Cool.
has a 200-watt pack on it, a 200 kilowatt pack, and an e-motor. And with Range Energy, it doesn't need to be connected to the cab. It's all in the Kingpin. The Kingpin has G sensors in it that tell the trailer what the cab is doing.
Did they have a Rivian pulling that thing around? The silver Rivian?
Ali's personal Rivian, they built a prototype to haul his little race car.
Ah, okay. I've seen that then.
Yeah. But their main business is semi-truck trailers.
Okay.
That's what they're doing.
Cool.
And so they can double the efficiency of a semi-truck, just a regular ass Peterbilt.
Yeah.
Or they can double the range of an EV
So
truck.
smart.
It's awesome.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
But then trailers get expensive, of course, when you start putting hundreds of kilowatt hours in them. But there is an ROI on that.
But if Walmart or Pepsi or whatever can double the fuel efficiency of their existing cabs, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And then they have they have a little controller you can plug into it, so you can move the trailer around the yard without having to hook a truck up to it. You can just walk a 50-foot semi-trailer around the yard.
Yet all of these types of new businesses coming out of this electrification boom are fascinating, and there's so many possibilities. Obviously from building physical equipment like trailers to, I met a dude just on the way over here today. I went to go charge coming up from Orange County, and he started a business, this is very small scale, washing cars at superchargers.
Oh, yeah.
He rented a parking lot space for the Westgate Mall or Westfield Mall. I don't know what it is. Something like that.
Is he doing spray waxes?
Yeah, he does just $25. We'll wash your car, vacuum your interior while you're charging. We'll unplug you before it's done.
It's a good business. I wonder if it's legal.
It sounds like it. He rented the space. He had the lease on it and everything, and he's going to find more stations that he can rent space near.
I hope so, because it's illegal to use water to wash cars commercially outdoors in California.
Yeah, he had a capturing system.
Oh,
a tent.
All right.
So he would do the interiors while the cars were connected to chargers, and then right when you were done charging, he'd pull it into the wash.
All right, cool. Wow. Well, then he's probably fine if he's reclaiming the water.
Yeah, he seemed to know the regulations and stuff. He was cool. His name was Isaac. He was awesome. Shout out Isaac.
Good for Isaac.
He's a big fan of yours.
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, shout out to him. But there's so many mobile detailers in LA that are just straight up illegally, commercially washing cars in the street.
The water
just dumping the dirty water. How much money I had to spend to reclaim all our fucking water here?
I watched the whole series.
The fucking water inspector showed up at 10 a.m. this morning. That's
No
why
way. So they do that?
Oh yeah, they show up 4 times a year. Random.
Wow.
Random inspection.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. No fucking around with this state, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
California, man. That's wild.
I mean, look.
It's good.
I like clean air and I like clean water.
Yeah.
And this state does a lot of things that I think are stupid, but enforcing clean air and enforcing clean water, I will play ball. I'm not complaining about it. It's legit.
Yeah.
I just like when I see other people sometimes that are just like, I'm like, you guys, like, come on. So anyway.
Totally.
Oh, do you have something? Okay. Should we get to our main topic today?
Sure.
Our main topic is Just for Kyle. It's our top 5 EVs.
Yeah.
No requirements for the list. It could be any value system that you choose for your top 5 EVs.
Well, do you want me to go first or last?
Well, we usually we go around the room.
Oh, okay.
We go around the room. So why
Great.
don't you give us your first? Doesn't have to be in order unless yours are in order.
No, so I actually broke this into categories. You told me like an hour and a half ago,
Yep.
something like
That's
that.
what I do.
It was great. It was
No
like,
pressure.
that was a lot of pressure. I'm like, oh my God. People ask us all the time, what's your favorite car? I'm like, I don't have a favorite car. What?
That's why we let you do 5.
Yeah, okay. So I broke it into a city daily commuter. Electric car, like a cheap shit box to cruise in. One car, like if you just needed one car in the garage to do everything.
Oh, okay.
An SUV, a performance vehicle, and a pickup truck.
That's mine are unintentionally sort of characterized like that.
Great.
But not intentionally. So give me your first one.
So my first city daily commuter is actually a car I just purchased a few months ago. I spent $3,500 on it. I drive it everywhere. It is my 100% daily, and it was a 125,000 mile Volkswagen e-Golf.
Oh, okay.
It's amazing.
$3,500.
$3,500.
How much life is left on the battery?
It's lost about 30%.
Okay.
So I still have 45, 50 miles.
Man, that's short.
Yeah, but I just go to the office, Starbucks, and back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And we wrapped it, we slammed it, we put some rotiforms on it. It's great.
Sure that helped the rate.
Yeah, we wrapped over the dents because like whoever had it
Nice.
before gave 2 shits about it.
Yeah.
And that's the equivalent usage of 600,000 or 700,000 miles on a big battery EV in terms of cycle count. So
Wait. Say that again.
it's 125,000 miles on a tiny, 20 kilowatt hour pack.
Oh, so the number of charge cycles.
Yeah, so
Right.
it's how an EV would look or perform after an ID4 with a big battery.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
and it's
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
great. Still charges great,
Okay.
way better than my Leaf and all that stuff. So I love that for daily commuting.
That's
Okay,
awesome. I had
yeah.
e-golf on my list too.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
E-Golf lifestyle.
All right. I like the e-golf. It was not on my list, but well, I should probably start lower price point. My first one is the original Model S.
Yeah.
2012
Same.
Model S. Back then it was just a good-looking, fast, comfortable luxury car. It was not. I mean, and it showed that electric cars can be very usable and very stylish. And, as Alex Roy would say, it would allow you to vice signal and virtue signal at the same time. You didn't have to do, like Jay Leno said, drive this ugly little Prius for you.
Right,
for
right.
the environment.
Yes.
It allowed you to drive a nice car.
And they still look nice.
Yeah. I think they're
Look
great
around,
looking
like,
cars.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Look, Aston Martin builds a great looking car, and you can copy them to 80%, and you can build a great looking car. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things I don't like about the Model S Plaid, but how it looks is not one of them.
Right.
I think that's a good looking car.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had Model S too. I mean,
Oh, you
obviously it kicked down the door. It
Yeah.
made electric cars fashionable. I mean, the EV1 was really important, but it would looked like a science experiment. But the Model S was a great looking car, and as you said, it was efficient and it was green and all this other stuff. And then also the supercharging network that came with it. And we wouldn't have all these other competitors, some of whom are very good, if we hadn't had this first one that did such a good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That is totally true.
All right, what do you got next?
So if you need one car to do it all, which is, that's your daily and that's your performance car and that's your road tripper and that's everything, it's the new Model 3 Highland refresh thing.
Did you drive one yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's significant?
Yep.
It is?
I think so. Absolutely. It's quieter. It rides better. It's, got much nicer interior. So, the old Model 3, I own an old Model 3. We've had it here, actually. Covered in mud and stuff.
I've driven several Model 3s. Yeah.
And the new one's just a significant improvement. Forget about the styling, because to me that doesn't play into my role here. It's just it's got the best charging network, best app integration, best software, great driver assistance for just sitting on the highway in the middle of the lane, which is what I use autopilot for. It's amazing at that. Yeah, that's the one. I called it the best car on sale because if you're factoring in price, which they're like low $30,000 range, it's got an LFP battery, full charge it, doesn't matter, doesn't hurt the life.
Wow.
It's great.
Low 30s too? Wow.
Yeah.
Are they that cheap?
Yeah, after go to custom order a Model 3. Let's make sure I'm not misleading the
rebates
people.
and whatnot?
Yeah, it does qualify for the tax credit, but not everyone qualifies for it. So go to purchase price, not probable savings.
Probable savings.
Because they start that and it's
it's fucking horseshit.
So it's $39,000.
39
And there's no options really. It comes with everything.
Okay. To a Model 3 long range, $47,000. Yeah, cheap.
You honestly don't need it. The rear wheel drive, because the long range you have to charge to 80% every day. The rear wheel drive you can charge to full every day. Different battery chemistries. You get pretty much the same usable range.
Yeah. Wow. My Ford, granted 3-year lease, so not my problem as of 2 weeks from now.
Sure.
Rear wheel drive long range. I charge it once a week at home to 100%. Mm-hmm. That's my only. But I'm not like fast charging it very often.
Yeah.
I'm just.
The fast charging doesn't affect it as much as the 100% charge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to the next one.
That is not your problem. And honestly, they won't degrade that. Ford has a big buffer up top.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. That's Model 3. I have the next on my list the Kia EV6 GT. It is not it does not have the best range. I think this is the best dynamic driving EV that you can buy for less than $100,000, less than a Taycan. Then it goes from this straight to Taycan in terms of dynamics. I thought this car was so fun to drive in the canyons. The body control, the chassis control, the suspension tuning, the steering, the power, and the brakes were all so well balanced. I had such a nice time driving this car in the canyons that I almost was going to replace our Mach-E with one. But the only thing that kept me from doing that was the manual seat. Because my wife, I would do it for myself. I don't give a shit. But my wife and I are a foot in height different, so we need memory seats for a car that we share.
Yeah.
It's just a rule.
Yeah.
But you drive one?
So I've driven them a few times. I've done a bunch with it, but that is the first car that caused the police to show up at my house. I love this car.
Yeah.
So I took it for a canyon rip where I live. We have an amazing road, similar to like what you guys have here. And then the sheriff's office showed up and said, "Hey, we're viewers. We love your stuff. Don't drive on that road anymore on videos." And I was like, "Okay, sorry, we won't do that anymore." But that car is amazing. You can haul ass in that thing. I've also had one in Germany on the Autobahn, and it just sits at 170 miles an hour. It's
at
crazy.
170 in
like
one of those?
167.
Wow.
And the thermal performance, I wanted to do we were doing an experiment to show how different EVs handle extreme stress. Mm-hmm. So I grabbed one from Kia Germany, and I'm like, we're going to rip the shit out of this thing. They're like, that's what it's built for. Barely could overheat it. Almost couldn't overheat it. It was full send, fast charging session, full send, fast charging session. I did like 4 times. I'm like, all right, well, this is plenty for everyone.
Yeah.
And the Ioniq 5N, which is going to be even spicier.
Are you going in 2 weeks to Laguna?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you on wave 1 or wave 2?
Don't know, but I'll also see you on the Taycan thing next week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
España, here we come.
Here we come. I don't
Are
know.
we on the same wave?
I think we're on the same email today.
Bro, I'm a dangerous person to go to Spain with. Get your fucking jamon fucking fix on. Okay. We're going to be crushing jamon.
You're more reason that I might actually go. I was thinking maybe I would send a colleague because we have all this electric truck testing to do.
No, come.
Okay.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So the EV6 GT, we were ripping it. Couldn't overheat. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And, love that car. Love that car.
For performance EV, for the money, so far, Ioniq 5N maybe, but so far this is the reigning champion.
The N is going to be more expensive, but it's going to be more hardcore.
Yeah,
it's going to have dual AC for cooling. It's going to have crazy suspension and trick diff and all that stuff.
Review coming soon. I'm doing it at Laguna. I'm doing a video for TST, and I'm also writing a story for Road and Track.
Hell
for print. Zach, next on the list?
Rivian R1T. Mm-hmm. It blew me out of the water when we tested it in terms of comfort and handling. The performance in the Canyon didn't make sense for a pickup truck. Frankly, unnecessary for a pickup truck. But what it showed me is what that company is capable of and how much thought they put into everything. I mean, the fit and finish of it was really good. There were some clever little adjustments to how trucks have been, but it wasn't trying to reinvent the pickup truck or saying it was reinventing the pickup truck, even though it's basically a pickup truck. I was just really impressed by it from like top to bottom. And I hope that company can stick around for a long time because the R2 and then the R3 that they've shown us seem like they make a good product and a good looking product, and those aren't always the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I had Rivian on my list for the pickup truck category. On my side, it's a launch product, so that's basically they call it their hello to the world, and they nailed everything on that truck from day one.
Yeah,
which is most automakers can't nail their EVs, and they've been around for 100 years.
Yeah, so
it's just incredible how well they did. To me, they've been able to gather this brand enthusiasm that almost has that Tesla, fanboy level of enthusiasm, but without the like annoying traits of
without the freak show.
Yeah, and without all the like even though there are Rivian investors, they're not as annoying as Tesla investors are.
Right.
And so I think they've got the right people, they've got the right products. I had dinner with some Rivian folks last night. They're just like, the company sounds great. Sounds like they're really excited about the future. I am.
If you
as
go
well.
to Malibu right now, they are everywhere.
Well, same in Colorado. You can't live in Colorado unless you have an R1S. Right?
Yeah.
It was the second best-selling EV in all of Colorado.
Really?
An $80,000 SUV.
What's Model 3s or Model Y is the first one?
Yeah. Y and then R1S.
I mean, that's, the R1S is badass.
It's great.
They're really cool. I like their colors, too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think they do a good job on their colors.
Color, trim, driving dynamics.
The shape is great.
It's just awesome.
I feel the same way about the Rivian, but it didn't make it on my list. I actually put, for pickups, I put the F-150 Lightning. And
awesome.
and I think that the reason I put it is because I do think that, big trucks and SUVs are, wasteful, right? But if we can get contractors and we can get people who really do need trucks for work into an electric truck, that actually does have a net benefit to the world. If they're gonna buy a fucking truck anyway, might as well be an electric truck. And I think that the F-150 it's sort of like it goes to where they are.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, here's what you need to do your job. I'm not going to change the whole fucking thing and make you come over to me. I'm going to go to you.
Well, it's the first electric truck for truck people.
Yeah.
It's all of the other ones, except for the Silverado, are lifestyle.
Yes.
vehicles.
true.
That is someone who wants to go hiking or do something. But if you're doing work, you drive a Lightning, and the Lightning rocks.
Yeah.
I mean, we have one at the office. It's owned by CSU, and they have it's the Pro, like the base stripped out work truck one.
Mm-hmm.
It beeps when you put it in reverse. It's amazing. That truck is so good. And everyone loves it.
Yeah.
And that is a work truck, and it's used for work. It's awesome.
Yeah, when we had the one in Colorado and we were working out of it.
Yeah, you did your podcast out of it. That was great.
I mean, look, someone sat around and go, okay, you have to carry around an enormous battery with you. What would you like that battery to do besides move the truck? And then they came up with a whole bunch of shit, and it works. It's great. Okay. What do you got next?
Yeah, can't say enough good things about the Lightning. I agree. And so the let's do SUV, and we'll end on performance. SUV electric is probably, there were three that were tied: the EV9, the iX, or the e-tron. I think I'll probably go with the EV9 because it's the biggest 3-row that you can get. It is reasonably priced. We have one as a long-term test car, and our sticker price was like $61,000 on it before incentives. Not bad.
We've never driven one, so you got to tell us about it.
Yeah, so it's like an EV6, but like blown up. Same drivetrains, bigger battery. Actually, slower charging, which is weird.
That's strange.
Yeah, the bigger battery is at lower voltage than the smaller battery, and they take the same amount of current. It is a weird situation.
You think that's because it doesn't need the performance, so it doesn't need to discharge as fast? So that's
it was just a decision on wiring of the modules that I was talking to their product planners about, and they're like, it was a compromise because of this, and that was the downside, was 210 kilowatts instead of 240, and I was expecting 300 kilowatts on the big battery of charging, but it looks great, drives great, good driver assistance, totally family friendly. It's got the roof air vents. It's a Kia. You don't care if the dog's in it or whatever. We use it to drive our dogs around now. We have 3 big dogs, and they all fit in there. We can leave the AC on full blast, which is so important to us, having good HVAC. And yeah, it's just awesome.
Cool. I'd like to have a go in one. I don't think our audience gives a shit about a video, but I would like to have a go. I like that between this and the new Santa Fe, that they're figuring out how to make square. I think people are tired of jelly bean shaped cars.
Yes.
And so square is in. Look at the new Lexuses.
Yeah.
And
New GX rocks.
Yeah, the
great.
GX looks great. The new Land Cruiser looks great.
Yep.
And if they can figure out how to make square things aerodynamic, then that's cool. I assume that they actually are aerodynamic. I don't really know, but
Yeah, EV9's pretty inefficient.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe,
But it's got a 100 kilowatt hour
maybe,
pack. So
maybe
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Next one on my list, the Rimac Nevera. And okay, it's $2.5 million. Okay, but this is a car product that is so good they basically gave Bugatti to Mate Rimac. Like, you know what I mean? Like I drove the Nevera. Have you driven a Nevera?
Never been in one.
It's sort of like, okay, it's expensive. Yes, it's very, 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 very expensive. Okay, but like the Rivian, for a company's first product, it is so impressively constructed, finished, thought out, thorough. I've driven other cars that are just as expensive as this, and they were less of that.
Wow.
This car is so obscenely fast, and also has a beautiful ride. You could legitimately use one as a daily driver. It's in the normal modes. It is very, very normal. It's very comfortable. Everything works really well. It's got a great stereo. It's got easy controls. It's everything about it is pretty straightforward.
Rimac does like a lot of software stuff, right? They're like
Made
pretty
all
good
of
with
it.
ADAS. They do it
They
everything.
made all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good that they fucking gave him Bugatti.
It's crazy.
Like, here, just do our shit now. And
I think Mate is probably the coolest guy in all of automotive.
you ever hang
from
out
my
with him?
standpoint. Never.
He is. He is the coolest.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the mellowest dude. You know, his dream garage is like Carrera GTs and F50s and stuff.
I saw a post he dailied his M3 CSL E46 to the office. I'm
Yeah.
like, this dude is just an enthusiast who has the craziest cars now.
Yeah.
I mean, he got his start building an electric drag racer land speed E30. Like he converted
Yeah,
an
that's
E30
right.
in
Yeah,
high
in,
school
like, in
to
his
like
garage.
a land,
Yeah.
like with people he found, and then that led to the company.
And the car is so disturbingly fast. I mean, you're 8-second quarter miles in the street.
Yeah, wow.
Over and over again. And so, yeah, they did 23 performance records in one day. And Miro, who is their test driver, who is the fucking coolest, will be in this studio on March 25th.
Oh,
so we will be talking to Miro about Rimac, about Bugatti, because he's Bugatti's test driver now as well, or one of them. And so if people, if our patrons would like to ask questions of Miro, he is the fucking man.
I will be listening to that episode.
So-
I've seen him drive. He's crazy.
He's very
and
good
he's
at driving.
so talented.
Yeah, he's
It's
very
amazing.
good at driving.
I've seen him drive on like a canyon road at like balls out speed. I was like, wow, damn. That's awesome.
I took him when he came to visit. He rented like a Z4 from Turo.
Yeah.
And he asked me to make, because I complained to Bugatti to Rimac when I reviewed the Nevera. Their drive route was like in Malibu.
Oh.
And I was like, you guys, you cannot give me a 2,000 horsepower car and send me up to Panga. Like, that's not. I was like, can I please just go where I need to go, where you can do? And they're like, not this time. And so I was like, Miro hit me up. Hey, I'm coming to town. Can you like tell me where to go drive? And I made him like my route. And I go, this is where I want you to drive. And he came back and he goes, I have made detailed notes. I am sending back to Croatia. The next event will be on your drive route. I'm like,
Amazing.
okay, cool. All right,
It's the Matt Farah did our press drive route. Thank you. We need chargers up in Angeles Crest, by the way. Like if Newcomb's could just have a couple chargers, that'd be great for me.
Depending on who
buys
it, and
It's still for sale?
Yeah.
How has no one bought it? There's got to be some enthusiast.
Dude, a fucking mudslide made it inaccessible for 6 months.
Yeah, but now you can go around, right? And you can get up there.
You can get up there now, but it's a tough. So the problem with Newcomb's is, and we'll come back to our main topic in a second. It's historically amazing. It's one of a very, very small number of commercial properties that are in the Angeles Forest. It's 27 miles from the nearest anything. And it is, if it snows, if there's a fire, if there's a slide, if there's anything, it becomes totally inaccessible. So, and also, no offense, anybody, the existing building is basically a tear down.
Sure.
Like you can't do anything with it.
But the space is zoned for...
It's zoned for hotel, restaurant, social club, and one could do something with it, but it would be years and millions of dollars, and every fucking truck
Going
has
up
to
that
go
road.
27 miles.
Yes.
I mean, just think, it's enough to make your head spin.
Right.
Regarding the Chargers, I don't know how much power they can get to that building.
You would just get the battery buffered ones, like a free
Right.
wire or an X charge or
So
something.
it would just be one that trickles into a battery and then
Yes.
discharges slowly.
Yeah.
Or it discharges fast.
Yeah, actually, Porsche's charger, the Porsche
The
design chargers.
turbocharger.
Yes.
The Porsche turbocharger.
They're battery buffered.
Yes.
I was talking, Calvin at Porsche.
Yeah.
I'm like, Calvin, you and Frank should just buy Newcomb's, make it into a Porsche rest stop. And there you go. They have Porsche has the money to do
I
something
want
like
Philip Seraphim to buy it and make it a Myers-Manx cafe.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That's the guy,
Yeah,
right?
that is
the guy with
your-
all the money
Nailed
and
it.
all the patience, and he's young enough to see how it goes.
I was at his house when I saw that Rivian trailer thing.
Yeah. Oh, at Pebble?
Yeah, Pebble,
Yeah,
yeah.
because he's an investor in range.
Ah, okay.
I went to that house. The gifting suite?
Yes.
Yes. It was all right. It was all right.
That place was crazy.
They sent me home with all kind of swag.
Yeah, I loaded up. I had my Polestar out there. Loaded. Alyssa was like, I was like,
Take
we don't
another
need
jar
anything.
of honey. Take another rack of golf balls.
I was like, I don't really want anything. We're here. These are crazy. This is not our crowd. We're out of our
but he
element.
owns all those concept cars and shit.
Dude, those were crazy.
Yeah.
And so I get back and Alyssa's got bags of stuff. I'm like, this is so crazy.
Yeah, his boss. But anyway, that's who I would want to take over that place. But when I went to Finland to drive the GT4E performance race car, they had the Porsche turbocharger, which was a semi-truck trailer.
Yeah, they have 6 of those.
Yeah, it can charge 10 Taycans at 250 simultaneously.
Yeah, it's 2.1 megawatt hours, and you can put a grid connection into it, and it's crazy.
Yeah, that's what
I
they
need.
do. They use to charge the Taycans for the ICE experience.
Yeah, my friend Kevin, who is responsible for the Taycan project at Porsche, he was like, I was in the car with him because I did a range test with him not too long ago. I'm like, tell me about those trucks. He's like, well, we needed to charge our cars, so we just built 6 3 million euro trucks.
Yeah, the one in Finland has a barn built for it.
Oh, really?
So it's I don't know if it's permanent, but it's semi-permanent. It's got a grid connection. Yeah, it was amazing. It was really cool. Number 4?
Lucid. Mm-hmm. The one we drove with, the Air GT. Yeah, just kind of like Rivian, new company, but I think what impressed me a lot is that they didn't have to use crazy complicated air suspension and hydraulic sway bars and stuff. The car was mechanical. It was on Bilsteins, and it handled so fucking well. Their chassis engineers were so good. The interior design was beautiful. Fit and finish was pretty good. There were some little electrical confusions, but they were creative in how they designed the interior without trying to rethink the entire thing to a detriment. And it was also a nice display that you don't have to be Tesla. For a long time, everyone was like, the only game in town is Tesla. The only thing is the Model S Plaid. And then you had Rivian say, here's our take on an electric car. You had Lucid say, here's our take on an electric car. And then, of course, the institutions like Porsche, I kind of expected them to do well. But I think it was cool to see a new player hit the ball so far and make such a mark in terms of a performance sedan that we've all talked about it. We've all, praised it, and I think that was really rad.
Yep, Lucid's on my list as well under the performance side for me. So it was Taycan, and we're going to drive the Turbo GT, I guess, but the Taycan's crazy thing. But it was that or Lucid Sapphire, which I have not driven the Sapphire. I've driven the regular one.
Yeah.
And the regular one for we had the long range version. I had that thing up in a bunch of canyons, and nothing could keep up with it.
Yeah,
and it was so balanced.
so
Yep.
fast.
Yeah, it was amazing. The drivetrain performance was crazy. The fact that it doesn't have any crazy trick suspension, it's just geometry.
Right.
And it's so good. I really have to have a go in a Sapphire. They've offered me one. I just need to go there and grab it.
Yeah.
So I need to have some fun with that.
Yeah, I would like to drive a Sapphire as well, but I've liked all the Lucids I've driven,
Yeah.
with rare exception for some silly things.
Yes.
My last one is a little hopeful. It's Taycan Turbo GT. It's just based on what I know about Taycan, what I know about Porsche's Active Ride, which comes in that, and I drove it in the Panamera.
Yep, I've driven the Panamera with it.
And oh, did you? Where did you drive it?
It was a different event than you were on,
Oh, okay.
and it was a prototype one, so it
Okay.
wasn't fully tuned, but I really thought it was amazing.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
and I mean this thing has gone around Laguna Seca 0.2 of a second slower than a Senna.
I didn't know that.
That is
That's
0.2 of a
That's the
second.
turbo e-hybrid?
This is Turbo GT.
Oh, the Taycan. Sorry, Taycan with the suspension.
Oh no,
yeah.
the Panamera is very very fast.
that's why
but
I
it's
was like,
not. No,
what
no,
the
no.
heck?
This is Taycan Turbo GT.
Yes.
I mean everything I know about the last gen Taycan, it now it's over 1,000 horsepower. It is so fast that it is 0.2 of a second off of a McLaren Senna in a 4-door fucking luxury car. Now, granted, Turbo GT has rear seat delete. So you know it doesn't have a back seat.
Didn't know that.
It has buckets in the front. It does not have a back seat. So this is a highly focused vehicle.
Well,
it's
no
a
one fits in the back of the
GT2
Taycan
RS.
anyway. So.
I know.
And the Visoc pack is free,
Yes.
so you get all the weight savings, big wing.
Yeah.
I don't
That's,
know. I would do no Visoc pack, but I think it's cool.
I mean, it's not. It becomes unusable as
Yeah.
a street car.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to go drive this thing. It's probably going to be sickeningly fast.
I really can't wait because the last Turbo S was pretty monstrous.
I made myself ill
Yeah.
in the canyons in the last Turbo
I
S.
did as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what I thought was the perfect balance for Taycan? I had a GTS.
Yeah, they're
in
lovely.
the canyons. I was just like, you go wide open, you
Yeah.
use it, but you never want more, but you don't want less.
GTS
Yeah.
Sport Turismo.
Yes.
The wagon.
Yep.
So good. But when you take everything Taycan does plus Active Ride, like I bet this is going to be batshit.
And I've driven the new Taycan quite a bit. I've done 1,000 miles in it now, something like that, but only for range testing.
Yeah.
And I did 467 miles on one charge. I did like a hypermile test. And
That's far.
so it's got a bigger battery than before that weighs less, and it charges way faster. Because the Taycan before was a 10-minute charging car.
And the Taycan before, has Porsche changed their EPA reporting? Because before they had this ridiculously conservative EPA
And they had to
number
appeal, I
Yes.
think, right?
that,
Yes.
that turned off a lot of customers, even though the real world range was like 100 miles plus over that.
Yes, and a lot of that is up to the EPA. So for 2024, the EPA has updated how they do range testing now, and it requires the car to be run in different drive modes, so sort of best and least efficient. Most and least. And so I'm not sure how it fares. I haven't looked at the EPA results for the new car yet. But the new car is a 340-mile car all day long driving,
And was that
normally.
like a 4S or something you were driving?
Yeah, rear drive, but we had a 4S and a turbo and some other ones. They all did over 300 miles
Yeah.
if you just drive nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the rear drive.
Yeah, rear drive's the move for road tripping.
The base rear drive car, I had light steering.
Yep.
It was still pretty quick, under $100,000. That one actually is. There's a lot of charm to that if you don't need the all-wheel drive.
So the new one is so good, but it made the old ones kind of dip in value, which is like also amazing because now you can get a used Turbo S for under $100,000.
Yeah.
With like no miles on it.
Yeah.
And so that's a $200,000 car.
Yeah.
That's the move.
Dynamically, the fact that the Turbo GT for 1/10 of the price of the Rimac Nevera was, I think, 2 seconds off its Nürburgring time.
Oh my God.
It's got
That's right, it was. Yeah, it was
half
so
the
close.
power. It's got 1,000 horsepower instead of 2,000 horsepower, and it's 1/10 of the price. And it is 2 seconds off that time.
That's value.
That is
kind of is.
value.
Yeah, it is.
value.
It
It's a
is.
huge amount of value. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great. I've been lucky enough to get to know the whole engineering team for Taycan over the last few years because that's our nerd world, and they are so hardcore.
Yeah.
They take the GT3 level of engineering and put it into an electric car.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
And Lars was driving, and he's going to be back in Spain with us next week.
Nice.
So he was.
The only reason Taycan wasn't on my list is because I expected Porsche to do a really good job at the EV Adventure, and I was like, Lucid was an unknown name.
Yeah,
So-
I really can't wait to do Taycan Turbo GT versus Lucid Sapphire.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great day at work.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Did you have one left, Zach, or was there one that we didn't get to? Or was
No,
that-
we had an overlap.
Oh, there was
So,
overlaps. All
yeah.
right. Well, that's our main topic of the day. Leave us your top 5 list in the comments if you have one. Although I pretty much think between the three of us, we've covered every good EV ever made right there. We've got some on the Patreon. Do you have 20 or 30 minutes
Got
before
all
you
the
got to
time
go?
you need, yep.
Great. Okay. If you want to ask us questions through the Patreon. For the show, if you want an ad-free listening experience, if you want to get the shows ahead of time, if you want all kinds of extra bonuses, etc., patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast is where you do it. All right, I have not vetted these, so we're going to go in real time. I don't know the answer to this first one. Flannel Bob says, what are the biggest crossovers from the RC Industries technology into modern EV technology? RC cars were using lithium-ion batteries before.
Slightly different chemistries, though. So there's
Yeah.
probably not much to be learned from that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there's much.
I don't know. I don't think there's a lot.
Yeah.
Brian Lewis says, speaking of moonshots, that's from our last show. Whatever happened to the SLS AMG EV? I think they made 10
I've
of
driven
those.
one.
Did you drive
I
one?
drove one top speed down the Autobahn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it good?
Yes.
Oh.
I was very nervous.
I think they made 10 or 11 of
Is
them.
it Mechatronic? That's where I bought
Yeah,
it from. They had
yeah.
2, so they let me. I had one for a day, and it was just the video from our side tanked. No one watched it.
Yeah, no,
but
yeah.
best day ever.
SEO death.
Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing.
Mechatronic's awesome, though.
That dude, they have crazy stuff. CLK GTRs everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is
Mechatronics,
this
they're
heaven?
all right.
Yeah.
Now, I want to visit them. Where are they in Europe?
They're in Stuttgart.
In Stuttgart?
Yeah.
Okay, next time I go over to Germany, I'd pop in there for a visit. They're
Yep.
doing these amazing, modern motors into old SL, like Pagodas. You can
Right,
get
yes.
SL Pagoda with a 500. Like, fuck
Yes.
yeah, dude. Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that Mercedes used it as research into their EQ program, but maybe there was not a market for it.
Yeah, I mean, their EQ program kind of seems to me like a dud.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cars are just not that great, are they?
they're just not that great. They're very efficient, but that's all we can really say. They don't look good. The tech is okay. The driver assistance is fine. Like the hyper screen's annoying. I
Yeah.
hate that thing.
Yeah.
Brake
They
pedal's
feel so
terrible.
creaky to me. This is what bothers me about Mercedes. You drive one. I got an EQS SUV press car for something. I was filming their new charging network. Mercedes is building their own charging network, by the way. They have $1 billion they're putting into it. They're putting them at Buc-ee's.
Oh, wow.
Which is the most Mercedes owner place.
When I
to
think
go.
Buc-ee's, I think Mercedes. Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
but they're 400 kilowatt chargers, all of them.
Okay.
So they're going big power.
And they'll be open to other
They
manufacturers
are.
as well?
We
Okay.
used them on the race.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. So there's plenty of them, but they're
Are they manufactured by...
ChargePoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The SL43 we had was creaky. It had some
Yes.
wiggle vibrations, which
yeah.
really surprised me. And I know the engine shook a lot and shook the car, but I was still surprised that this very expensive Mercedes was like.
Yep.
I asked Mercedes about that car. You drive an SL43.
That's the 4-cylinder one.
The
I've
4-cylinder.
only had to go in the 8-cylinder.
It's the 8-cylinder one is basically what you'd expect.
That's what I want
right?
in a car. No
Yeah.
mild hybrid V8 and
Yeah.
just roast the tires.
So this one is the 43. So it's the turbo 4-cylinder from the GLA 45.
Why would they do that for emissions?
I mean,
or-
I'm sure
gotta be
I'm sure
European
there's people who are looking for
emissions.
style and they don't care about the power, and maybe there's countries with fuel taxes or displacement taxes or whatever. Fine, okay, but me and Zach both drove this thing. This is like a riotous hot hatch powertrain in this luxury GT. It is so fucking weird.
Really?
It vibrates the whole car at idle, and it's just like so. It's actually quite nice if you.
Is it a dual clutch?
It is a dual clutch.
Okay.
Shifts quick.
It
and
shifts
it's
quick,
a quick car.
and once you're up in the revs, it's actually like sort of fun. It's not slow. It's 375 horsepower. It goes pretty good, but the puttering around town, which is presumably what somebody would do with the 4-cylinder version, it's so bad.
Really?
And vibratey.
So what did Mercedes say?
They were like, well, it's for people who don't want the extra power, but they didn't explain, they didn't go further into why it got to be vibrating.
I always have a hard time getting further information from Mercedes from my side.
I mean, it was a very canned response.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than the bigger motors, and it's for
Is it
people.
a lot cheaper?
30 grand.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot. It is a lot
Yeah,
cheaper.
yeah.
But it's still, the one we drove was $120,000, and it was like a luxury GT that's vibrating. Like,
Yeah.
that's weird.
No, that's weird.
Richard says, for around $90K, would you get a CPO Taycan Cross Turismo 4 with 4 years of warranty remaining, or a new Macan 4?
Yep, 100% Taycan. Cross Turismo.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I've already got a Macan 4 on order, so
I love the new Macan, love the new software in it. That's the Android-based thing. Software is such a big part of vehicle ownership. We're starting to cover it a lot more because half of my life is interacting with my car through my phone now.
Yeah.
And the Macan is better at that. The app is better. The route planning is better. The daily stuff, the boot up time. But Cross Turismo is just a wagon that's electric and it's cool, and
It is cool.
If you could squeeze your life into that, that is a neat opportunity to own a neat car.
I think the biggest difference between those is going to be like the height of the car, so getting in and out, how does that work with your body, and like the leg room in the back seat.
Yeah, Macan's got a lot more room in the back than
Yeah.
Taycan. But the Cross Turismo, at least you can fit a person in the back.
Yeah. For us, we need a crossover. We need one. We need one. All of our other cars are stupid, but we need one crossover to haul shit.
But the Macan's cool. You're going to love
Yeah.
that. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're excited. Richard says, when buying a used EV, what do you have? How do you help to ensure you get one that still has a good battery with minimal degradation? And how does the federally mandated 8-year, 100,000-mile battery warranty actually work in practice?
This brings up a lot of great points. And I buy a lot of used, crappy EVs that may have bad batteries. To be honest, there's no simple solution. There's no simple way to say that battery is in good health because there's so many failure points within a battery, whether it's the heat cycling of the connections that could just work one day and then, boop, just lost connection, then the whole thing, you got to drop the pack. The biggest thing you can do, and the biggest thing I usually recommend people to do is, of course, go drive the car. And most vehicles will give you some range estimate, more or less. And if you full charge the vehicle and it gives you a pretty big range estimate or close in the ballpark, then you're probably fine to what it was new. Most batteries don't degrade that quickly. You'll get most in the first year or two, and then they kind of trail off. The big problem comes with if there is an issue with the battery pack. There's no way really to hide it in I guess with a check engine light, you could clear a code if you're a sketchy used car dealer.
Yeah.
With a battery failure, it either works or it doesn't.
Right.
And there's so many checks on any series production car.
When a battery degrades, does its onboard range estimator show you an accurate, like in your e-Golf, if your battery's degraded 30% and you charge it to full, does it show you an accurate number, or does it show you an optimistic number as if it was full and it just goes down faster?
No, they will all they all look at basically driving history or rated calculation on efficiency multiplied by how many kilowatt hours you have in your battery. So they will all decrease the same. The problem is with my e-Golf, when I bought it, it showed like 25 miles of range on full. And I'm like, what the heck? This is hilarious. Let's recycle the battery, put a new one. It'll make a good video, all that stuff. But what I realized was that they were just inching it around the parking lot and had like the heater on full. And it wasn't a rated calculation. It was based on driving history.
Right.
And so that artificially made it look like the battery was worse than it actually was. And
That
so,
helped you get a better deal?
no, I didn't. I also didn't negotiate with the guy who was really sketchy. He had, he was a used car dealer with a Maserati on 3-year-old expired temp tags. That he was driving.
Yes.
And I was
There we
like,
go.
this is our kind of guy. I will pay you full price. Have a nice day. Please don't look at my
Don't
address.
call me.
Always reset the guessometer. There's a process in every car to ignore driving history and then full charge it. There's really no way around it other than that. There are some services like Recurrent that you can guess. But the only way to look at battery capacity is charge the car to 100%, drive it until it stops moving, and see how many kilowatt hours you got out of it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
There needs to be more work in this area. The battery warranty thing is 8-year, 100,000 miles, I think 70% capacity. How they measure capacity, there's about 50 different ways to do it that will give you 50 different results.
Oh, good. I like that they've left lots of ambiguity in that for you to get hosed as a customer. That's great.
And so you know the customer's not on the winning side of that situation.
Yeah. All right. Sean says, as more vehicles go electric along with digital displays, I worry cars are starting to become disposable appliances that won't be worth the investment to fix once they hit 10 years old because they're too expensive to repair. Do you either of you think this might actually increase automotive waste in the long term, since the serviceable life of a car might actually decrease from internal combustion cars?
I just started a new channel on this
Oh
topic.
my God.
How many channels do you have
25
now?
fucking channels
17.
now? Do you really have 17?
17, yeah. And it's called Out of Spec Renew. And we have this French dude, Jerome, who's hilarious, who runs it. But it's all about the total life cycle of a vehicle. And what we're doing is we're covering converted classic cars to electric, the end of life of current vehicles with battery recycling, and what does that process even look like. So we're going to go to Redwood Materials, send them a battery, do all that. And the big thing is, certainly, I think the cars today, there's going to be a lot more e-waste. But is America responsible enough to take care of that appropriately?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
So I'm nervous about it. I think this is a real problem with electric cars, something we need to keep a close eye on. I just bought 9 Kodas yesterday. So I had a Koda, and you know this company Mullen? I was like, can anyone at Mullen explain to me how you're not sketchy while I was there? And then no one gave me any answers. But they had 9 Kodas. We were just there visiting. They had a bunch of stuff. It was like interesting Chinese cars there. And I'm like, what are you doing with all those? They're like, funny enough, they're going to the salvage auction to get crushed tomorrow. They've been there for 12 years or something. Like, how is
Are they
it
all
rare?
like new?
Yeah, they're like unused, a couple hundred miles on them or something.
No way.
I have a 0-mile one at home that I got, and we did a whole story on it. And Mullen bought Coda, of course. And I was like, why are you going to crush all those? And how am I here the day before? And they showed me, like, the emails. They're supposed to get picked
What'd you
up.
pay for 9 Kodas?
$2,500.
All of them?
All of them.
All right, I would have bought them
And
too.
so I said, well, we can't let all of the batteries are fine.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can't let all this energy go to waste. We can't let the motors go to waste.
Sure.
We can use those for our Renew channel and repower old cars.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the life cycle we need.
Right.
So we're at least going to try that.
And
I
there
don't know
are
much
good
about it.
faith actors trying to do that. Second lives of batteries, whether they become home storage units or RV storage units or sort of generator-like things. Like there are people trying to do that. I am worried about it as well, though. Although I do think that, like, I'd love to really challenge my own perceptions of the waste created with internal combustion cars versus my whatever certain special cars are going to be my fucking Bentley most of my internal combustion cars, most of them will probably outlive me.
Yes.
Right?
I agree with that.
I'll sell it to someone who cares about it like I do, and it'll but like I've probably also owned some like regular ass internal combustion cars that are taking up space in a junkyard now that are gone. And so like I'd love to really dive into it and see if my perception matches the reality.
That's why we started this channel. I want to learn. I don't know the answers. I don't think anyone knows the answers.
Yeah.
Truly. So we're going to figure it out, and it's really fascinating and scary.
Yeah. Tim says on the Rivian R3X, how confident are you in Rivian to create an EV sports car with engaging driving dynamics? Do they have the pedigree to deliver on the rally car looks? If they can fucking make a truck drive like that, dude, the speed I went up a canyon in a 6,000 pound truck.
More than that.
What is it?
72.
7,200 pound truck. Put that in a small, lightweight car. That thing will be a fucking rocket ship.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
Yep.
I mean, how could they not?
It's going to be the craziest, most fun pocket rocket thing you can have. And it's going to be funky and cool and also premium because they're very good at the material stuff.
True.
And it's just going to be, it's that or Ioniq 5N. That's going to be a fun comparison. And I think this is cooler.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, we got years to find out. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I just hate it when they announce stuff so early because we have to talk about it for 4 years before we can drive it.
Yeah. Thomas has a very complicated question. What are your thoughts on the power grid and its ability to handle the demand of charging? And then secondly and separately, we know Tesla's supercharging stations are reliable and popular. Why has nobody else been able to get close to the same experience?
we've been discussing the grid since the first time I came on the show. I still don't have all the answers. I don't think anyone does. In certain areas, the grid cannot handle high-power charging stations.
Yeah.
LA might be one of those areas, if I were to guess. There are other areas that have plenty of extra grid capacity, and there's certainly so many solutions to increase grid capacity that come with a lot of time and cost. And will that time and cost match the pace of electric vehicle adoption? I attend a lot of meetings, a lot of conferences. I'm trying to learn as well. And we do want to cover the energy space. Out of spec is still new and growing. Energy is something we want to branch out and cover really to answer those questions. And how do we do it without, basically a bunch of e-waste or a bunch of, dirty stuff to power the electric car? So that's
Right.
question one. Tesla supercharging stations are reliable and popular? Yes. Why has no one else been able to get to close the same experience? Because no other charge point operator manufactures their own equipment.
Yeah.
They buy from a supplier. That supplier is then responsible for servicing their equipment, and the CPO, all they have to do is manage the site and dispense the electricity. There's no when Tesla has a problem with a supercharger, they own the sites, as an example. So they know instantly in their back-end monitoring that, like, oh, this cable got 4 degrees warmer than it should have. Let's run out and replace it. And the people that they send out to run out and replace are Tesla employees driving Tesla vehicles and stationed to manage the entire network. It basically comes down to caring and not giving a shit.
Well, and also, up until very recently, it only had to work with one kind of car.
Yep.
And there's a two-way communication between the car and the charger, which there isn't always in the same way.
That's right.
Other charge networks were founded as punishments.
Yes.
A company that starts as a punishment is not set up for success off the bat. And
Especially when if it had huge success, it may cannibalize some of the products
Right.
that the punished sell.
Right, and if you build chargers and cars, then if one doesn't work, and they're under the same name, if you own a Tesla and you're charging at a Tesla station, the charging station sucks. Well, but A plus B equals C, then the car also sucks. But if you drive a Ford and you have a bad experience at Electrify America, you're not blaming Ford for that. So there's this lack of sort of accountability, right?
Yep. Well, you nailed it, and I guess I was viewing his questions more as not so much as an interoperability topic of will the car actually communicate and start a charging session, but assuming the cars will charge. Tesla's, in general, their network is very rarely do you find a dead stall.
Right.
They're just, even if you assume every car can charge everywhere, you roll up to EA stations, you roll up to EVgo, you roll up to privately owned charge point stations. There's almost going to be one charger that's just dead. sitting
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And that's just a lack of maintenance, a lack
Sure.
of caring.
Yeah, that drives me nuts because that's not a this is new tech issue. That is a customer service and giving a shit
That
issue.
is just giving a shit.
Yeah.
And the interoperability issue of the Tesla supercharger network integrating and communicating with other vehicles is a real major problem that we will have no lack of content covering.
Yeah.
My e-Golf will not charge on superchargers. So there's superchargers that are publicly accessible they're called Magic Docks. And one day I went to charge our EV9 at one, worked perfectly, no problem. I'm charging at a supercharger, all is good. Next day I go back, doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And it's been bricked ever since then.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, why does it not charge on the supercharger? And a lot of it has to do with different communications.
Yeah.
So Tesla communicates on single wire CAN. Now you're going with ISO 15118 or DIN 70121 for other communications. Well, yeah. It's basically Tesla's network now has to speak to every car.
Yeah.
And that is tough.
Yeah, I mean it seemed like a pretty obvious thing to me that why can't everyone just do a Tesla? They've only got to talk to one kind of car.
Yeah, and I think it always goes beyond that though, because their network, if you can get your car to work on a supercharger one time, in theory, not our EV9 experience, then it'll work on every supercharger everywhere because that piece of equipment is the same.
Right.
With EA, they have multiple hardware providers.
Right.
EVgo has different hardware providers. And so they have to do, I was just in the EVgo lab doing interop testing with the Cybertruck, and we had to plug it into like 12 different chargers. With Tesla, they just have to plug it into one and get it to work on one.
Yeah. It's Apple. It's the Apple fucking cable thing.
Yeah.
Do we have any else that are specific to Kyle? We can leave general ones for the. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to freaking read these in real time. Okay. Amatore 911 says, I was set on a used small battery EV like an e-Golf, but as a renter with only outdoor parking and a 110 outlet available, with those types of vehicles even charge in that type of weather? He's in Chicago. My worry is being left stranded with a 10-mile commute, and that 1 week of frigid temps has me given second thoughts. Volt. Get a Volt.
We have a Volt and an ELR right now.
Second gen Volt. ELRs are awesome used buys.
My dad's got one.
Yeah.
He's got both of those for his channel.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I just drove them. I never drove a Volt in my life.
Isn't it great?
Never drove an ELR in my life. I am the biggest Volt shill now forever. I've listened to everything
I had
you've
both.
said about
I had
it.
both generations.
Well,
they fucking rock.
I was thinking about it while I was driving. He's got a first gen Volt, but I was like, this concept is like, can someone just upsize this and put it in a pickup truck so I
Yeah.
can tow with it?
Yeah.
And a Ram Charger will be that. But yeah, it's amazing.
And F-150 hybrid ish,
Yeah,
not
not
really.
enough hybrid, yeah.
Not enough hybrid. The new Prius, the new plug-in Prius,
Yeah, it rocks.
is an updated version of that Volt. If you can afford a new Prius plug-in, get that. If not, second gen Volt is your friend.
Yeah, I got a colleague who's actually about to trade in his Model 3 for a new Prius plug-in.
Yeah.
He loves it. I do too. It's an amazing
Dude,
car.
we had one for a week. It was rad.
Yeah,
That was the
loved
sixth
it.
car on my list, but technically
It
it's
was
a hybrid, so I didn't.
Yeah,
put it
I
in.
left hybrids off my list, even though I
yeah.
could have. Toblerone Malone. I recently discovered the Model 3 has a 10 to 1 steering ratio.
Yes.
Is that the fastest steering ratio of any car on the market?
It's got to be up there. It's so darty.
It's what is the Ferrari 296? That the 296 or the 812 might.
Well, a
actually,
458 is 11.9 to 1.
Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if the 296 or the 812 is faster.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Yep.
That's real. If it starts with a 10, that's real fast.
No, it's
steering.
real quick. It's 2 turns lock to lock, and
Yeah.
it doesn't like ramp up. It's just like, whoa.
Paul wants to ask about the big lithium deposit discovered in Nevada last year.
Me too.
Does the U.S. have regulations against domestic rare earth mineral mining? No, I don't think so. They mine fucking shit here.
Yeah, my understanding was there was a 7-year permit process for any mine, roughly. And so, EVs 7 years ago, I don't think we were even thinking this far ahead. So, yeah, we'll start to see more of that.
Last one, and then we'll wrap it up. Below average nerd. We have other questions that we'll save for the next cruise show. Below average nerd. Do you see any emerging technologies for fuels that seem like plausible alternatives to lithium batteries, or is the market too focused right now on improving current lithium tech?
We're really focused on improving batteries, of course. We have a hydrogen station that's going in at our office, so I can play around and learn more about that. I'm not convinced for passenger vehicles, but it's something we have to
for
cover.
commercial,
medium and heavy duty.
yeah,
really
for
cool.
commercial, for warehouse, for loading docks, for all kinds of shit.
Absolutely, and also for energy storage
Yeah.
for the grid. We have a lot of peak energy usage from we have a lot of excess capacity on our grid that we use for a very short period of time at 100% and not even. So if we can just run our grid at 100% all the time, a little bit like a diesel generator where it just runs peak efficiency and have places to store the excess for the peak demand, that'd be amazing. Really cool. So yeah, I think that's cool. I think batteries make the most sense right now with any sort of foreseeable current tech on the market for passenger vehicles, but
I'm interested in what kind of carbon neutral fuels I can buy going forward that will allow me to keep the gasoline cars that are worth keeping.
have you done an e-fuels thing yet with Porsche?
I haven't because in order to do it so far, you have to go to Chile,
Yeah.
and that sounds nice, but I haven't found a real reason to do it yet.
Yeah.
When the video would be me driving a car and then go, this feels like gas.
that was my cost benefit analysis
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
not like a thing there.
Yeah, plus my audience is okay. It's still burning, whatever.
Yeah. If something like that is available, like I would buy drums of it to run my old cars on if I could. But I think it'll be interesting. We have so many gasoline-powered cars now.
just throw 'em away.
We can't throw them away, and we have gasoline-powered cars that are culturally significant that we never want to throw away.
Absolutely.
And we want to be, that's such a small percentage of the market, but they're going to be here forever.
Yeah, we got a lot of time to figure that out, though. Gas is
Yeah.
not. We're not going
Yeah.
away from that for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. All right, what do you want to plug? You have 17 YouTube channels. Out of spec,
Just
all of
out
them?
of spec, search, find something that you like. We've got channels for off-road, we've got channels for performance, we've got channels for, of course, electric car reviews. The reviews channel is really the main thing, so
Yeah.
out of spec reviews, check that out. if
And
you
of
would like.
course, Virtual Kyle on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to start using Instagram more,
okay,
so that'll be fun.
you should. We recommend that. That's the only social media platform that we use.
Yeah, I like it.
And of course, we'll make a video with your Cybertruck in a couple weeks when you come back.
Yeah, once it's back here, you'll be the first one to get
Cool.
it. Have
Thank
it
you.
for a couple days.
Awesome.
And enjoy it.
All right,
Or
that'll
hate
be
it.
that'll be really fun.
Yeah.
Either way, it'll be
Yeah.
fun. Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a controversial product
Yep.
that would definitely slaughter a pedestrian. I mean, just,
There's no question
just
about that.
Fucking
Yeah.
slaughter a pedestrian. It's unbelievable, really. It's so crazy. Thanks for coming and stopping by. I hope I'll see you in Spain.
Yes.
Next week for Taycan GT, and after that at Laguna Seca for Ioniq 5N. Those are both going to be really fun.
Yep, looking forward to it.
I'm going to go drive this Rolls-Royce Spectre.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
didn't even
The best.
talk about
I
the
love the spec. Wait till Matt has his video.
I
out.
didn't
It's a
post the
good
picture
spec.
yet because
Okay.
it just showed up right before you got here. But this thing is fucking done up.
I've spent a lot of miles in Spectre. I think I've done 600 miles in it or something.
Yeah.
More than whatever it said on the sheet when they gave it to me. I was like, sorry. It's amazing. Enjoy it.
It seems. I mean, I've been saying for 10 years that Rolls-Royce should be. They were building cars that drove like electric cars when they were powered by gas.
They made a V12 so electric when they could have just put an electric motor in it.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
average Rolls-Royce owner drives 2,000 miles a
It's
year.
so funny. Yeah. But
And
I'm stoked.
You know that there's going to be Spectre owners that put DC chargers in their garage.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.